Welcome to Show Studios Fashion Radio, the podcast and video series exploring the remarkable relationship between fashion and music. Every week, I'll be joined by fashion's biggest names and the talent of tomorrow as they share their 10 life-defining tunes and the stories behind them. I'm your host, DJ Fat Tony, and today's guest is a trailblazing activist and entrepreneur. She started in fashion modeling for Topshop in 2011. From there, the Catwalk took her to Jeremy Scott, Chloe, Laquan Smith, and Glenn Martins at Diesel. Most famously, she starred in Rihanna's first Fenty Beauty campaign, and in 2016 she launched her active wear brand Lap. Then took time out to try acting. Out alongside Ed Sheeran and Jennifer Saunders, she speaks out against discrimination in fashion that conceals hair and beauty blindfolds within the industry. Leomie Anderson. When did it all start for you?
So I was 14 years old when I was coming home from school when this Canadian scout came up to me and was like, hey, have you ever considered doing modeling? And I thought he was a pedophile.
Yeah.
So I was like, strange danger. And I ran away. I even got on a different bus because I was like, I'm not letting this pedophile follow me home. And then he came back the next day and I was like, oh my gosh, he's definitely a pedophile. And he was like, no, I'm not a pedophile. He was like, give this business card to your mum. And I saw all these models on it and I was like, oh, this looks kind of legitimate, but never called because I was like, I'm only 14. I'm sure I can't even work. And then 3 months later, somebody else from the same agency came up to me. So I was kind of just like...
What agency was it?
Premier. Like from a young age, I kind of realized that when you set goals for yourself, like when I very first started modeling, I would be like, oh, in the next year, I want to be on the cover of this magazine. And then in 6 months time after that, I need to be doing this or that. And then every time that the goalpost got moved or I didn't hit a target, I was like, oh my gosh. And at first I started feeling bad and I had to switch my mindset to be like, actually, maybe you didn't get that, but you got something else, or you open another door. And that's when I realized, like, actually, life can't really be planned. All you can say is that I want to go somewhere in this region.
When did it all kick off?
I would feel like when I was 17 and I went to New York for Fashion Week for the very first time.
First time you'd ever been to New York.
Yep. And I remember being on the plane and I was like wondering what this model apartment was going to look like. And I blamed Tara Banks for this. I thought I was going to be staying in this kind of like cool, you know, multicolored bed sheets, big pictures of supermodels. When I walked into that model apartment, oh my gosh, the lighting was so dingy. There was a TV with a back. The kitchen was looking so... I was like, ew, what is this kind of thing, you know? And that's when I realized, like, okay, you don't want to be staying here, so you actually need to work. But I felt like I arrived because that season I walked for Marc Jacobs. I probably did 100 castings that season and the only show I got was that one. So thank God, because when I was in that model apartment, I was getting worried.
You know what? It's a good show to start with.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a good one.
Marc's incredible.
Loved it.
I adore Marc. And what he did last night in the Met was insane.
Yep. And like off the back of that, I booked all of Katie Grant's shows because she was the one that was like casting it at the time.
We love Katie.
Katie. We do love Katie. And yeah, that was when I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm actually a model now, you know? But prior to that, I had done other stuff, but it wasn't the same as that feeling.
Well, it's a different level, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of the arrival, right?
Yes, I was like, yes, I've arrived. But guess what? Still broke, still living in model apartments. But it was the first step. And I knew from there, as long as I keep my head on, I'll be able to do great things.
And you are doing great things. So let's talk about a bit about the TV, what you're doing. So you're doing Glow Up, right?
Yes. So
with our Val.
With our Val and Dom, we love them both.
Yeah,
but Val's just like my girl. I love her. And it's so funny because both of them I worked with when I was just a teenager, so 15 to 17 years old. Dominic, I worked with backstage at shows in New York.
Yeah.
And then Val in London, I worked with her a lot, and I remember doing this Moschino show, the London one, and she was the key makeup artist as well. Val to me is like a young person still.
Oh, she is a young person.
She is a young person.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know a lot about her. She's young, guys.
Trust. You know that. So you did Victoria's Secret as well.
No one could ever make me hate Victoria's Secret. When I sometimes do interviews and that, they'll be like, you know, so what was it like? I'm like, I love it. I loved it.
Yeah, but literally, why? It's other people's opinions again.
You can walk a million shows and no one cares about who you are. No one cares if you like your hair, your makeup. No one cares about any of that. You're just literally a clothes hanger. Whereas Victoria's Secret, they would be telling us, be yourself, be your biggest self, bring your personality. And like when you watch back the shows and they have the clips where they're showing the models, showing their childhood, showing their careers and stuff like that, like they really highlighted and celebrated what we brought to the table. And for that, I'll always be grateful. I loved it.
Yeah, and you know,
Plus good
they're back. They're back. They came back with a bang. I mean, not many people get Cher to sing at their shows. Do you get what I mean? She's one of the most biggest feminists there are in the world. So
exactly,
for Cher to be back in Victoria's Secret is a big thing. What about Fenty?
You know, I love my girl Rihanna. Shout out to her and Rocky as well, third baby.
Amazing.
Well, I'm there first. They just don't even know it. But I bloody love Rihanna.
Yeah,
I first
amazing.
met her when I was like 15 years old backstage at a concert. And then a few years later, I worked with her for her River Island collaboration, and she remembered me, and I was like, to all the models, like, yes, like Rihanna.
Incredible.
You know? And then year on year after that, she'd book me for various things. And then I was one of her original faces for Fenty Beauty as well. But one thing that I would say about Rihanna that I just bloody love is that she is just the realest person ever. And even after my dad passed away, she is actually probably one of the only like known people, celebrities who I follow and follows me, that reached out to me and checked in on me to see how I was actually doing. And I really appreciated that because, yeah, you know, like people can always say like, oh, this celebrity is so nice or whatever, but I will say Rihanna is real.
Yeah, I've worked with her quite a few times, and she's Rihanna. She's Riri. That's who she is.
She's Riri. She's going to turn up late. She is going to smell of weed, and she's going to be bloody amazing.
We know a lot of other people that turn up a lot later than Riri.
Oh, exactly.
And I really wouldn't worry about it. Do you know what I'm saying to you? They're the ones that are sitting front row pulling faces, but they're actually worse than everyone else.
Exactly.
But we won't go into that today.
That's another episode.
Yeah, oh, hello, right? Jesus Christ. What was your first memory of fashion and music?
Probably when I was literally a little kid getting ready to go to church on Easter Sunday, wearing the frilly dresses that my grandma probably got from the market, colourful.
Bright yellows, bright
yellows. And I remember there was a specific one. It was like velvet. It had some like necks, multicolored print on the middle, poofy sleeves, and I loved it.
Incredible.
And I wear my gold hair bubbles. And I used to sing on stage at church. Everyone claims I used to be able to sing when I was younger. Don't know what happened. Of course, my grandma said as soon as you stopped going to church, God took your voice. I was like,
she says.
Yeah.
Genius.
I think I wasn't that good. I was just very cute.
So that's why they loved you with your gold bubbles.
Yeah.
So what was the song? What was it?
This little light of mine.
So my friend George Boydger, as in Boydger, he always sings that. It's like whenever he wants to get gospelly, that's what comes on.
I know, it's a good vibe. Yeah, you know, and especially when you're a kid, you can like hit those little high notes and the whole church singing along with you. Like, I feel like those are my earliest memories of just like music, the joy that it can bring, and also the freedom that you can feel with music.
Course.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you said feel, because you know, there's difference between listening and feeling music. I say it a lot in this podcast because, you know, a lot of people go, oh, I listen to it. But it's like when someone says, oh, you know what, I really feel that track, because that's what music's about. It evokes emotion in all of us.
Yeah.
You know, you touched on your dad passing. How did it affect you?
I would say, so basically my dad passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
He was diagnosed at the top of 2020. And then we went into lockdown just a few months later, and it was really hard because I wanted to do so much for him. There's so many places in the world that he didn't get to see, and I really wanted to be able to take him there. So I feel like that part was really hard for me. However, on the flip side, because it was COVID, everything was shut down, and in a way I'm kind of appreciative of that time because
you could spend that time with him, right?
Exactly. I got to spend so much time with him, and then he passed away in 2022. And again, I'm so grateful because they said he only had 6 months to live, and I got to have more time with him. So I kind of mentally prepared myself, and I have 2 younger brothers as well. They're 21, they're twins, and with one of them being autistic as well. So for me, it was like one of the things that my dad always said is like, I worry about Riddell. I want him to be okay. And I was like, no, trust me, I'm going to make sure that he is. And so for me, it's more so now about making sure that I make my dad proud by looking after my brothers. And
I think I'm falling in love with you.
Aww.
Because, you know, however much we think we get taken away, the fact that you got to spend that time with him during COVID it's a magical thing.
Yeah, I'm really appreciative of that time. And honestly, I feel like I really got to know my dad in such a deeper way. Like, although we had a close relationship, I feel like that time, it was a very vulnerable time for him. And I feel like he really got to know me as well. And I feel like I understood more of his dreams, his hopes, the things that he didn't necessarily get to achieve, the moments that he wishes were different. And he would always say that having my brothers was his thing that he felt like he was put on earth to do. And so like every day I wake up and I think to myself, like, I'm living the dream that my dad dreamt from when I was born, you know?
Well, that's what, that was his legacy, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. That's such an incredible way to do it and look at it. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, have to.
Well, of course. Gratitude is like an amazing thing.
It's really necessary. And I feel like, but it's quite interesting, the word gratitude. I have an interesting relationship even with that, because when I very first started in modeling, people would use that word and say, I should be grateful. Even if I'm being mistreated in the modeling industry, they'd be like, well, you should be grateful because, there's not that many Black girls who get to do what you're doing. And like, they would use it as a word. It's actually so funny.
Fucking world
I know, it's insane. It's so insane.
Really?
But it's so funny because when I was younger, like, not that the word grateful was associated with something negative, but it was almost like it was a code word for like, they weaponized
the word grateful.
I know, and you think, how could you weaponize such a great word? But yeah, it was a word that was used often when I was younger for me to deal with, racism, to deal with being told about my body, to be told that I shouldn't act in a certain way or have a voice. And it's so interesting now how I kind of reclaim the word.
Yeah, you've owned it.
Yeah, I
That's
own
just
it. Yeah.
When we own something, when we, like for me, my name's Fat Tony, but when I was a kid, I was called it behind my back because I was a fat kid, and I took that name and I run with that name.
Exactly.
I thought, okay, I'm going to own that. You ain't going to have that over me. And I became Fat Tony. And with gratitude, if someone's telling you should be grateful, fuck off.
Exactly.
Seriously, fuck off.
Especially when it's grateful for crap. I'm like, thanks, love that. Eat this shit pie. Yeah. Be grateful.
Be grateful for the fact that I'm hitting you with racism and casual racism. Casual racism, which is even worse.
I know, even the worst kind, literally.
Oh, go away. But to wake up full of gratitude is a remarkable thing. Okay, what's the most influential track from your childhood?
The most influential track. Okay, I would say there's been many, but one that always sticks with me is Lauryn Hill, That Thing. And I have a funny story about that. So I went to a school that was in my school was quite white. Like, there was like 2 Black kids in my class.
What area was it in?
Wimbledon.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Very white area,
yeah. So I went to primary school then. Obviously, we'd have our school discos, and you bring in your little CD and you let them, they play one song from everybody's CD. So I brought in the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and I picked track 5, and I know it was track 5. I don't even need to look on Spotify, nothing. It was track 5, and I put a star next to it so the teacher could not confuse it with any other song on the album. And I remember being at that disco, and I waited for my song to be heard. Everybody else is like, my song. At the end of the disco, I go over to my teacher and I'm like, where's my song? And she was like, oh, I didn't think anyone would know it. So as people were leaving, I could just hear that thing playing in the background as all my peers are leaving. I remember feeling like, this is my first experience of not racism, but it was like my first experience of like, oh, I am different because I'm Black, maybe because it's a Black artist, or maybe because they don't listen to the same music I listen to. But I remember being a kid and thinking, why is my song any different to anybody else's?
Great school, right?
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. I was about to educate them. How ironic though, the album's called Miseducation, when I was about to educate them on some real
That's just
R&B.
it, you were about to educate them. Because it's an amazing track.
It is.
The album's incredible, one of the most incredible albums. I love it.
I mean, it's lasted the test of time.
You know that, and it's Lauryn Hill. Right, let's move on. Best music video in terms of fashion.
Oh, okay. There are so many videos. Of course, I grew up watching like a lot of Lil Kim music videos.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, that for me was so inspiring, seeing a dark-skinned woman who would, just be so experimental with her looks, with her makeup, with her hair and styling. And for me as well, it meant so much to me, especially when, you go to school and they would tell the Black girls, you can't have colored braids, but then the white girls were allowed to dye their hair and like those little things. So seeing those music videos just reminded me that you don't have to be put into a box. And then for me as well, I loved Aaliyah growing up. I loved the More Than a Woman music video when she had like the Dolce & Gabbana look, the leather trousers. And it's so crazy because of course fashion is cyclical. So we're back in that era again, the low-rise trousers, all of that. So I grew up watching a lot of those music videos and just feeling inspired as a Black woman.
Do you think, right, going through what you went through at school and even early days of in the industry of being told to be grateful, inspired you to achieve more than you would have achieved normally?
Honestly, I think that I don't regret any of the experiences that I have. I don't feel
regrets it. No,
I feel like it made me who I was, because honestly, I've always been someone who, when I want to achieve something, I just zone in on it and I focus. I don't really care about what people tell me I can and cannot do. I've always been that way. When I first started traveling for work, all my teachers told me that I shouldn't put modeling first. I should, don't do that because you're going to be out of the job in a few years. And I think having all those experiences from a young age, my teachers telling me, oh, you shouldn't do modeling, it's going to take away from, your education. So I would stay behind school. I would bring my books to castings. I got basically all A's in my A levels because I was like, I don't want you guys to ever be able to say that it's because of modeling. So. Exactly. If I fail, it's because I did bad, not because of any of my surroundings.
100%.
And I just carried that attitude with me.
I think it's a really good attitude to have. I remember when I was leaving rehab after 7 months of being in rehab, and they were like, you can't go back to London. You can't go back to DJing. I'm not going back to anything. I'm going forward. And I've gone forward and I've always gone forward.
Yeah.
There's no, back doesn't work for me.
Yeah, back doesn't work, and running away doesn't work either. No. Running to a different place and like acting like that place. You know why? It wasn't necessarily your environment, it's also your mindset.
100%.
And your perspective on that environment that you were in. If you can shift your perspective, you can go back to the exact same place and view it completely differently.
How has your personal style evolved alongside your taste in music?
Well, for me, I feel like my music taste, I'm still very like, my favorite music, I have my one little 2000s playlist that has maybe like 200, 250 songs, 300 songs. And it's just, I feel like I'm stuck in that era because I love collecting vintage as well. So I feel like my fashion style has evolved because I actually got some money. Then I could actually buy all the vintage pieces that I've wanted to. So I think if anything, my music taste has stayed. Well, of course, I listen to some new music, obviously, but my favorite genre is early 2000s, and it just matches so well with the fashion that I love too.
You know your lane, and I love
my lane.
I love someone that knows their lane.
Yeah, I don't really like to step out with it. I know what I like.
Let's see the shoes. Put the shoe on the table. Oh, the shoe's incredible.
Thank you. Let me back it up.
Like when you walked in, it was like, look at this. Look at this masterpiece of Galliano.
I know, isn't it just fabulous?
It's incredible.
And it just goes to the table. I might keep my leg up here. I love it up here.
So where did you get them from?
I got these from Vinted. I'm sure the woman was really old. And
they've not been worn. Look at them.
I know, they're literally brand new.
Yeah, look at this leather, look.
Like, amazing. £200, ladies and gentlemen, from Vinted.
Best £200 you'll ever spend.
Oh, literally. And everybody already knows that they are obviously the inspiration behind Galliano's Maison Margiela Tabby version of this. This is the original, guys. This is the archetype.
Incredible. Have you worn a Tabby before?
You want to know what? I do like when people wear them, but I personally, I just don't have them. It's not that I don't like them or anything like that, but I feel like people sometimes feel like they're so fashion when they wear it, which you probably really are. I agree with you. You look great, but for me, I like finding like.
They gave me. I had to wear a pair for the Galliano thing I did in Tokyo.
Yeah, do you like it? How did it feel?
Well, with a normal sock, it's the most painful thing in the world.
Yeah, but when you get the toe sock,
they're impossible to get, even in Tokyo. So
Uniqlo.
Everyone's like, not anymore. They do the 5 toes now, so you can get the 5 toes. So I actually got the 5-toed socks, and they were so comfortable. I've not worn them since. They were so comfortable. I lived in them for 3 hours. Best, most important song you've heard on a catwalk show. Now, you've been to plenty of catwalk shows.
I know, but I always have to pick a moment where I was walking.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Go for it.
It has to be a Victoria's Secret moment.
Yeah.
And when I was walking to Starboy by the Weeknd,
amazing.
Because I remember walking and I was thinking, I want to make sure I have a moment where I interact with the artist. And like I did some like next little step 12 thing, and it hit so perfectly, because sometimes you think, is it going to look good if I do that thing or whatever? But like when I watch it back, it was so seamless.
You know why? Because you were feeling the track.
Yeah, I was feeling the track.
It.
And I was just
that track gave you that energy that it should.
It gave me that energy.
That's
it. Gave me that energy.
So the Weeknd, right?
Yes.
Amazing. Okay. What song do you have on repeat? Like literally because you talked about your 2001s. When you get home, for me, I was walking the house, go, hey Siri, play. And it just does it automatically.
Yeah, it knows
Those
your
5
vibe.
famous songs always come on.
Okay, so I guess my song that I always have on repeat is probably The Dream has a song called Fancy that I always play when I get in my car, because it's just so like, it's just about this girl who's just living this glamorous life, and she's like, it's like trips to Monaco, designer names from head to toe, that's fancy. And I'm like, oh, when I play it, I just drive.
It's happiness, right?
Yeah, and I'm just in my car, and especially with my hair freshly done and my outfit's hitting, I'm like, I am fancy, and I just love that song. So that's my song.
Oh, well, you own that song.
I do. I am that song. I am
song.
fancy.
Yeah, but how genius is that?
I
right?
know.
Do you know what I mean?
I know
Just to know, yeah, that's my song.
Yes.
This is who I am. You own it.
I do.
If you could, I like this question. If you could raid the wardrobe of anyone
Alive has to be Rihanna, because we're the same shoe size too. This is why people don't be thinking sometimes. They'll be picking someone, I'm like, are you even the same size as her? No, you're picking this person. The clothes ain't gonna stretch or shrink, babe.
You know that.
Rihanna,
right?
like, I can definitely get up in that wardrobe and be fitting into her stuff and just having a whale of a time. So I would definitely say her. And she got sent.
And
she gets sent amazing stuff.
You know she's got the best shoes.
Oh,
yeah.
Best shoes and bags too.
Yeah, of course.
And I might even find a little blunt in one of them too. And then I would say Dead. This is hard because there's so many iconic wardrobes. I feel like Whitney Houston probably has an amazing collection,
imagine, right?
like amazing dresses, amazing red carpet, amazing shoes, like, and then even like her off-duty wardrobe, she had amazing sunglasses, great sweatsuits.
Oh, I love the fact that you brought Whitney. It's just,
Yes.
you know, on this podcast, we don't have enough Whitney.
Surprising.
We don't really have enough Prince either. Ooh. Which is a special one as well.
Yeah, but Prince's clothes would not fit me, too short.
No, too short.
They'll
way
be,
too short.
all his trousers would be bloody capris on me.
Little pedal pushers. I've got pedal pushers on it. They're Princes.
They're Princes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you not tell by the three white buttons?
Oh, do you want to know a funny story?
Yeah,
actually?
of course I want. Do I want to know a funny story?
Of course you do. I've been making you laugh all day, babe.
Go on, babe.
But this isn't even funny. This is like iconic, right? So, you know Philip Treacy, the hat designer? Of course. Exactly. But it's so funny because obviously when I talk to like young people, they're like, who?
Yeah, of course.
But basically his last show that he did, which now would probably be like 10 years ago or something like that.
The Rolls Royce show, the one with sponsored by Rolls Royce.
No. Okay, I'm talking about the one when he had the original Michael Jackson clothes.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yes.
that show. Yeah.
Yes, okay. So I was his fit model for that show, right? And I spent like 2.5 or 3 weeks with him going to his, his millinery office. Was it millinery?
Yeah.
His office every day.
When in Battersea.
Yeah, in Battersea. I'd be there and I spent so much time with him.
Stefan.
Exactly. So it's so funny because when we were doing the show and like the girls would be like, oh, mine's a bit big. I'd be like, because it's based off my head shape and my head size. But I got to try on every single piece from that collection.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know who has that iPad that took all the fit pictures because I tried on everything. So Michael Jackson's jacket from Thriller, his diamond glove, like his outfits from Bad, all the way to Jackson 5. And like for me, that's just such an iconic moment. So it's funny that we were just talking about trying on
I love the fact that you did that because, that show literally is one of those things that kind of almost time forgot because
it's a fever dream.
You know what I'm saying to you?
You can't even find pictures of it online. Like you can find like
because it's the Michael Jackson, the curse of that again. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
And, again, this will throw bricks. But the thing about it is, that regardless of what that person may and may have not done, what they did do and what they did for generations with their music was a totally different thing. And the way they dressed, it was an iconic thing to do.
Yeah, iconic moment.
Totally.
Iconic. And again, one of those ones no one could ever take that out. Like that memory for me, amazing.
I love the fact that you had a big head as well. Everyone's like,
yeah, I know. They're like,
big.
Ooh, and I'm like, okay, girl, how about my hair's just thick, okay?
Too genius.
It's not my fault. You got thin on scalp.
Ask Philip or Stefan.
I know.
Just
I don't even
Stefan.
know. Do you think that they will reply back on? you come on, I'm sure you got their number.
Will. Stefan and Philip, amazing.
Yeah, I need to because I'm sure
it's
they
around
got
the corner, right? His shop's there around the corner, literally on the next street.
How often is he there?
He's not really there, but the thing about it is Stefan and that they will respond. Trust me.
Okay, I'm gonna find them online.
If you message him on Instagram, he will respond to you immediately. I guarantee it.
Okay.
I guarantee it, and I'm sure he would be honoured to respond to you.
Oh, I would love that because I always talk about that. Because it's just like if I need to keep the memory alive somehow because there's barely any pictures of it, so I always speak about it being
Seriously,
one of the most iconic moments.
Reach out to them. Right, what's the theme tune for your life so far?
I would say it's Ja Rule, Living It Up, because it's just like such a feel good vibe, and I'm in a happy era of my life now. I feel like from 2020 to 2023 was the worst time of my life. I can't lie. You know, from my dad, my relationship of 8 years, like friendships, family stuff. It was like a very difficult time. But now I feel like I'm back in my living it up era. I feel really good about things. I'm feeling very positive, and everything's starting to fall into place now, which is nice.
That's where the magic comes from, because we learn who we are and what really we want.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
And that comes from grief. And it's really sad to say that sometimes that's what we have to go through to realise what we have.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's why I feel like grief is one of the most human emotions as well, because no matter what, even if you act like you don't care about anything or anyone, you will still experience grief.
It will come and knock you off your feet 2 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? A song, a smell, so many different things, you know. It has that effect on us, and we don't really know how, like, people handle grief in so many different ways. People go, oh my God, they're not really, for someone who's just lost someone, they seem really happy. We go into autopilot.
Yeah.
And at
100%.
some point that you have to land.
Off. Yeah,
and it's when we land.
Yep.
You know that.
Yep.
And I just think that when we take that on board and we accept that that's where we're at, that's when we can move forward.
Yeah.
So that's what it seems like you're doing right now. Funeral. What would you have played at your funeral? It's a big one.
I'd probably say I would like for when they're carrying my amazing body.
Oh yeah, of course. You're right.
Maybe Thinking About You by Frank Ocean.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think that's just like, I love that song so much,
beautiful.
and it makes me so happy. And I feel like anybody who knows me knows that that's like one of my, Channel Orange is one of my favorite albums. I know it like word for word. So I think that's, although it's a happy song, but I feel like it's a moment and like thinking about you, you know, like I want people to feel that, think about me. Hello, you're at my funeral. You better think about me. Right. If there's one time you better think about me, it better be whilst you're crying your eyes out, watching me being carried as a harp plays thinking about you.
Too fucking right.
Yes.
Too fucking
And how about you?
For me, it was always Mary J. Blige, No More Drama.
Oh.
It was always that.
That is a dramatic song too. It's like No More Drama, but it's the most dramatic song on earth, which I just love.
I just remixed it.
Yeah.
I've just done a remix of it. It needed a re-edit.
It did.
And it needed to take you to that place. And it's like, we're just waiting for him to clear it. Because we've done it justice, not changed much, just given it a really up-to-date beat.
Oh, I love that.
It needed it. And so No More Drama, I think, and maybe Together Again by Janet Jackson.
Oh,
I really love that song.
That's nice. That's a beautiful song.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
It's a moment as well.
Yeah.
No. I want people to be happy at my funeral.
Yeah, I want them to be happy. I also want them to cry. Cry, but be happy as well. I want them to cry
for months and months and months.
Yeah, exactly. But I also want them to have a good time because I want them to have a good time.
Because that's what my life's always been about.
Yeah,
making
exactly.
people to have a good time
and celebrating. Yeah, correct.
Well, listen, it's been fucking incredible having you on.
I know. I've loved our chat.